Hello, this is an experiment, and we don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to play to find out.
Play to find out.
This is a kind of combination of teaching report as well as a very special episode of Gathering My Party, where I bring new games to a new group of people. And with me is Meguey Baker, who has been in my house for the last couple of days on her second visit to Auburn. And Meg, we've played a lot
Yes.
already, and we're
Yes.
gonna play another round of The King is Dead
True.
today in class, and I'll recap that because Meg will be flying away home. But first, you played with my new group.
Yes.
And we played a game from Playing Nature's Year, which is a bunch of little games.
Oh yeah, we played In the Company of Birds.
Yeah, we played
Very
a bird game
for this visit.
Yes. Because we went to the Raptor Center, and one of my players is affiliated with the Raptor Center. And then we spent most of the time playing in Dreaming Avalon. And both of these are games that are like a lot of the Baker's work, designed to be picked up and played really quickly. They're really good as these kinds of defamiliarization of what a game can be, because there's lots of games, so many games in such a little place. That this is not just one game text. This is braided together.
Yeah.
These are both kind of these beautiful, like, whatever you're in the mood for, whatever the season. And we'd played
You played At the Stroke of Midnight when we were here in October, because there's 8 games in that book. There's one for each quarter of the year in terms of seasons. All really, really rooted in Northeast Woodlands area, and like love letter to living in New England.
Yeah. So, and again, we were waiting for like our last players to arrive today, on Monday. And so, like, playing with a bunch of dice and telling a quick story with 2 players is a beautiful thing to be able to do. We were able to play two full rounds.
Because it's super fast.
Yeah. And then we spent most of our night playing Under Hollow Hills. Hollow Hills presents In Dreaming Avalon, which is, of course, kind of part of Under Hollow Hills. And what's cool about these is when you get them, there's like a bunch of copies, because everybody has a copy that they can reference to make their initial knight or fairy, and then it's your choice of the games that you want to play. And I don't think I've ever laughed harder.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was so funny. How, sir, will you receive my lance?
Yeah, so there's a joust, and that is literally the challenge, is with a straight face, you and your jousting rival are basically trying to get the other to break. And you added a kind of bet that I very much lost. Yeah. I apparently was not a good assessor of which of my 2 very good friends of over a decade and a half would be the one to break when doing this. But yeah, we did have a new player, and that can be a little bit challenging. So one of the things that I would note is this is something to kind of check in on. The purpose of, or the goal the characters have, is to fall in love.
Yes, it's really Shakespearean fairies and Arthurian knights having a meet cute in the forest and seeing who falls in love with who. So you have to make sure your table is comfortable with that. And it's, it's not hugely overt. It's like a little cute, flirtatious, maybe there's a kiss sort of thing that's on screen. And so, making sure that's good for your group is important.
Yeah. And this was a stretch for this particular group, right? This is a period, we're in like week 6 of playing together, figuring out like where are the comfort zones and where are the places where we can stretch.
Right.
And we had one new person who was kind of new to the vibe, and not beyond Meg. And so we're going to play this again to figure out, and we're going to play The King is Dead, which is very similarly structured.
Yes.
In order to kind of calibrate and see and talk kind of stars and wishes more intentionally about, like, how do we feel about including even kind of hints of romance. This is important to mention, like, these are folks, a lot of whom are affiliated with the university. We're not in each other's direct kind of line of bosses, but we have people with very different parts of the university who have different kinds of power. So that's something we're also still kind of figuring out. This is a community that came together because they're really interesting games, but also this is precisely the kind of friction point where we really need to talk.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting the effect of games can have on a group. Playing games, you're seeing a different side of each other. You have to find the edges a little bit. And with In Dreaming Avalon, the stated goal is fall in love. With The King is Dead, ta-da! With The King is Dead, you have a goal of betray your friends, ally with your enemies, and fall in love with your rivals. So there's a little bit more freedom if people are like, I don't want to do the falling in love piece. Just go ahead and make political alliances. And
Yeah, and we had our second public game experience for anybody who wanted to come. We did no signups. So last time when Quinn's was here, we did Blood on the Clock Tower, and we had a thought that, it could get kind of wild. And indeed, we had a wait list for that because, as we discovered, students are obsessed with Blood on the Clock Tower around here, in addition to a couple of, like, Quinn's Quest community folks who are around. But this time, we just kind of crossed our fingers and said a prayer because we had a bunch of copies of The King is Dead. The King is Dead was facilitated by you, but is GM-less. Like, both of these games are functionally, don't require a leader in order to run. And so oh my gosh, what an amazing night.
it was amazing.
I thought I was going to get to play. No. we were over capacity. We had to kind of stretch to make the 17 students across the 3 games kind of fit.
Yeah.
But it was this really beautiful combination of people who'd never met before. We had little, the tabletop club represents, love them. But they were in the minority, I think. We had folks from all over campus, including people who had heard of role-playing games and never gotten to play one before.
Yeah, that was my favorite. It was someone who came in and it's like, is there things here? I've always wanted to try this. I never got to try this. And, shout outs, they did so good. I don't want to name names necessarily.
Yeah,
I don't think it's appropriate, but it was wonderful. And of the 3 tables, so we had 3 tables of, there's 5
5
players,
to 6.
and then 2 other people came once we were at capacity. I was like, well, then we'll just squeeze them in. You'll be cousins in the same house or something like that. And very different games, which was delightful because I could set the overarching scene, and then each table just went with it. It was really cool.
Yeah, so we had so the coordinator Mabin Beard, who makes magical things happen at Pebble Hill at our Draughon Center for Arts and Humanities, which hosts these things after hours. Mabin is doing this out of the goodness of her heart, making sure the snacks happen, all these sorts of wonderful things, and then students come in. It's technically it's both a part of campus, but slightly off campus. So many students have never been to this space before. So this is a way to bring them into the historic house and programming center. And and so we gathered at 6 and we closed the doors and finally got out of there at 9. And the 8 students were like talking to each other long after.
Hanging out on the porch. After it was like, get out, we gotta go home. And the game's all completed. Nobody had to like stop in the middle because when we had 2 tables where like, oh, hey, we've got to leave. Great. We've done enough mini games. We'll just play the coronation and see what the results are. And then afterwards, 8 of them just hung out for another long time, just hanging out.
And you like gave away every copy you had of this game.
I took orders and I gave away what I had and I took orders for more. It was really nice.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. And so if you are a game designer who can come to the Alabama, Georgia area and want to run for some of the most enthusiastic folks, and you can do that at scale or want to figure out how to do it at scale, please get in the comments or email me. We want to keep this going, and we're going to keep this going in 2 weeks with James D'Amato and Dylan Appellian, who are coming to visit. But it was really kind of amazing to start to watch this community of practice grow among the students. And I was literally not in the room aside from taking the photos that prove that this happened. But Meg would come back and say, this table, like and we would hear cheers and there was a dead player and not player, character, but
because they went to trial by combat and it was amazing. And then they're like, I died. What do I do now? I'm like, oh, obviously you're a ghost.
Yeah.
And they loved that.
Yeah. And so, with all of these different kinds of experience levels and comfort zones and people who did not know each other, this worked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, really awesome. And so I'm so excited. After we finish recording this, we're going to have an early lunch and then go to class where my class is going to be playing the King is Dead. I will also be sitting out and watching how it all plays out, but they saw all of Meg's games when we were discussing in class on Monday and gravitated to this and asked to play it. So I had kind of an improvisational, like, I had a sense that maybe we'd play something, but I assumed it might be 1001 Nights or something like that. And maybe if we had a physical copy of it,
sure,
they might be more attracted to it. This is not to guilt
No,
Meg,
it's just like what's available, and this is very, very easy for this specific sort of.
Yeah. So, and I have
footprint.
multiple classroom copies of this. So, up in my bookshelves, I have basically a magazine rack of, I think, 3 or 4 copies of The King is Dead, which each have 5 booklets in them, which means that I can run this for
15 people.
15 if I've got 3 copies. If I've got 4, then I've got 20, which for me is how big these classes end up often being. This is a much smaller class, so we're only having to run 1 session. But yeah, and we'll have plenty of time. The students, so here's what's amazing about this to me is on Monday, all the students were there. They were really excited, and they stayed 15 minutes late in order to like talk about, they each took a booklet home to do the very little reading that they need to do in order to prep. It actually is a no prep situation.
It really is. It was really just an excuse to have them take the book away in their hands so that they remember what we're going to do today. Yeah.
And they will fill out, as with all of our games, a play report that kind of gets into the kind of play experience, but also the details of the physical object and how it creates meaning. And they have this rare opportunity with the case of The King is Dead to ask Meg some questions. And we had, as I mentioned in my last video, a little bit of discussion about the death of the author and things along those lines on Monday. So Meg is not the ultimate authority, but she is an authority on this text.
There is another name on the cover. So
also fair. That part. But that their experience as players is going to be specific to themselves and a thing that only they are authorities on. And then we're going to be getting ready for, this is the kind of transition point. There's a kind of almost like a butterfly join between the first third of the class and the second third of the class, where we're going to start to talk about those play reports and turning them into public facing commentary. And that means talking about some pretty serious stuff, starting with the student request from last semester that we address the kind of what for us is kind of the air we've breathed in for the last over a decade, Gamergate. But for students who were children when that happened, this is totally new history that they have to be taught that, of course, impacts so much other stuff. But it's been, wow. So Meg got here on Sunday, and we have been playing more or less constantly, except when there's been food or birds. And it's been such a great visit. And we're going to do this again someday when busy schedules allow. But this is the kind of template for what I think we hope that bringing game designers and game folks to campus will allow us to do. And so far, in terms of the play experience, we're 2 for 2. So, thanks for coming, Meg. And thanks for testing out my really weird
hey, it works.
system. We didn't fall off, and this was done in 1 take.
Hey!
So, see you soon. If you have questions for me or Meg, please feel free to put them in the comments. As always, there's additional information and fun links and links to recipes for the snacks we ate over on my free Patreon. And, of course, you have a Patreon as well, you and Vincent, which is, you can just search Lumply Games.
Yeah, Lumply Games.
So that's a more important follow from my personal opinion. And of course, a reminder that, of course, all of these games are that you see behind me with
Except
one
that
exception.
one.
Is
There you go.
There you go. All of these are available for you. And a new edition of Apocalypse World is, of course, Backer Kit.
I don't know. We're not set up on Backer Kit, but digital.
Digital.
It's
Follow
still open on the
Follow
Kickstarter.
Lumpy Games. Also, look up Apocalypse World 3E on Kickstarter to back that for some digital goodness. Because
We're aiming for imprint by the end of the year.
So lots of good stuff coming, and so talk to you soon. Thanks.